Hello and welcome back to my channel, and we rejoin my BX Dungeons and Dragons solo campaign. We are currently in the about to leave the Drunken Dragon after having an interaction with a thief who had proved to be a bit of a hard catch. He is holding out on the basis that we don't really know where we're going. Also, we have a few other individuals that we have on the stalks of our employment drive. We have, just to summarize the situation, I had it on my 2-page spread. We had our first interaction we had was with a lady fighter called Arisa Dragonheart. She proved to be a very promising candidate, and we basically struck up quite a rapport with her. We are very keen to get back to her. We have to get back to her quickly. She said she only had a matter of hours before she'd be snatched up. She's hot property. We better get our skates on if we want to recruit her into the party. So she's probably up on our list of potentials. We had a rather unfortunate encounter with another potential candidate, another fighter. This one turned out to be a chaotic fighter, and we didn't really hit it off very well. And I've got that down as a failed interview. In fact, it was so bad that we basically generated an enemy. So there's going to be a bit of enmity between us and now the name Riss Trueheart. I just didn't think that was suitably chaotic fighter enough, and he does seem to be quite a kind of quite a menacing character, leader archetype, chaotic fighter. You know, I just kind of summed up something a bit more daring and maybe even dashing or something. And one of the subscribers came up with, well, why didn't you call him Braveheart? So I thought, well, that's good. He's not going to be a bit of a Mel Gibson type running around with woad on. But, you know, Braveheart probably better than Trueheart, because True sounds a bit kind of lawful, you know, whereas brave, you can be brave if you're chaotic as well. So we've got Braveheart, and I thought, well, maybe I'll just put some more vowels in this and jumble up some of the words, and I've come up with Riash, and Riash Braveheart sounds a bit more fantasy. So I'm gonna use my executive powers, and I've actually lost my eraser, but I'll just score those ones out. And he's now been rechristened Riash Braveheart. But, you know, it's a bit academic because we're not really too interested in him. However, he could be a thorn in our side going forward. So we better keep our eyes on him. And the thief that I've just mentioned, Alden Fellhammer. Now, again, I thought Fellhammer didn't really sound great. So I thought True Blade, I keep the weapon. So Blade, you know, is pretty neutral, and it's also maybe kind of thiefy. And then True, well, you know, he has actually turned out to be a lawful thief. So maybe he is true to his word. He has a code. And so I didn't think Fell Blade would be applicable. So I've decided to go Alden. Alden sounds fine. You know, that's quite a nice little name. Yeah, Alden Trueblade. So we've rechristened him as well. So I've done a bit of executive intervention there. So we have got that situation. We have a continuation of our recruitment process. We did have another individual on the stocks, and we also want to get back to the Golden Griffin and just catch up on the effectiveness of our notice. So back in the Golden Griffin, in comparison, the atmosphere in the Golden Griffin is much calmer and infinitely pleasanter. You know, anything's better than the Drunken Dragon. You know, we were getting that torrent of abuse as we left. There was leches, there was drunken oaths and buffoons and cackling laughter, and, you know, hags and everything. You know, everything that you could think of. The worst pub that you could ever land in. And we were just, almost like a breathe in the fresh air as we step out into the square, sight the Golden Griffin. We're home. So we, on our notice effectiveness, we inquire with Boren as to any feedback to our notice we posted in the town square that morning. So what we can do is the characters roll for the success of the posting made earlier that day. So we can roll on this little table that I've created just to say, well, how effective has our posting been that we put up? That really effective wording, an advertising campaign of stupendous. Just have a quick recap. Adventures wanted, fair terms, treasure shared equally. Find us at the Golden Griffin. Care of Boren. Did that cut through as kind of modern parlance? So no, I've got early days. Give it another day or two. So fair enough. But however, I think we were pretty inundated because I didn't expect maybe to have so many suitable candidates already throw themselves at our feet and not even require any kind of advertising. We could have had a bit more unlikely. Someone made an inquiry. They left their details with me. So that's what Boren would say. He said, oh, someone popped round and they've left these details and you can get in contact with them. Or probably the most unlikely, you're popular. 2 of your young fellows have been around. One left the details, the other is sitting yonder. So we would actually have contact, and we'd have actually someone sitting there ready for us to talk to. Wouldn't that have been exciting? However, that's not the case. We're basically waiting for our advertising to bear fruition. However, it might not be necessary. So the characters. So we're in the place. We've got back in. Boren's there. He's saying, yeah, welcome back. Where have you been? I was saying the Drunken Dragon. Oh, that was terrible. And he said, it's got a bit of a reputation. Anywhere else nice? And we said, well, the Shadowed Helm. We don't mean to denigrate the Golden Griffin, which we really enjoy. And Boren, you are the most wonderful landlord. But really, that is quite an establishment. And he says, yes, I am very fond of Alara. She is the landlady. We almost have a mutual agreement in place that we don't poach each other's clientele, but we have almost like a symbiotic relationship, which is a very exotic term for a landlord to use. But basically, that means that we share our clientele's information. We work together to make sure that any adventurer in town has a suitable alternative, either the more economy version that I offer, or probably the upper end first class level that Alara likes to give. Certainly, you need an alternative if you have the Drunken Dragon just within a few 100 yards of your establishment. We mightily agree with you, Boren. We're going to get a drink in our usual table. So we plonk ourselves down, but the characters also notice the distinctive outline of a beautiful elven lady dressed in fine silk garments. She looks at our party and smiles, beckoning us over to her table. Right, so we don't even get a chance to sit down. We see this beautiful elven lady. She tells us to come across. We oblige. The young artisan she was politely tolerating makes his excuses and disappears as the characters sit themselves down. So this chap, he was trying to maybe be a bit flirtatious with this elven lady, maybe just punching above his weight. And he realizes that the game's up, and he heads away, probably with his tail between his legs, a wee bit embarrassed. He sees that there's 4 rather bruising-looking characters descending on the elven lady, who has interest, obviously, in them. So we're going to perform the final interview in peace. with the pleasant ambience of late afternoon combined with gentle lute playing, making the setting conducive to a positive negotiation. So the environmental factor is really doing a plus plus for us. It is good. We can add 1 to 3 to the rolls. So when we do that, we'll roll 1 to 3. And this elf has a restriction. She will not be a chaotic alignment. She seems to be an elf of status and has a distinctly noble bearing. So let's do business on this elf, and let's see how interested we are in her. What's her background? What's she all about? So I will put this down as item number 4. So we have 4, and we have elf, female, and we have this environmental modifier of 1 to 3. So let's just do that first, and then we have that banked and what we need to consider. Oh, I've got 2 dice in there. So we have that's 3. Oh, that's good. So the environment, the lovely lute playing, the pleasant ambience of the place, and just maybe just the feeling of absolute relief that we're not in that awful drunken dragon is giving us an environmental factor of +3. And maybe this lady elf, she's very pleased about it too. And let's find out. We get our little checklist again of what we need to do on NPC profiles. So we've already got the class determined, the level, she's going to be level 1, the sex determined, and we have to roll her for her name. So let's find out what her name is. I do have some lady elf names, as well as male elf names in my list of names. Not as many options as for humans, but enough to give us some. Unfortunately, I don't have. I'll have to do. I think it's 1 to 10. It's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yep, there's 10. So we'll get our D10 out if I can find it. I can't find where there is D10. So let's find out what female elf we've got. So we've got 4. So Elara, we've already got an Elara, I think, with the lady that's in. Remember I mentioned that the landlady's name sounded a bit elfin. Well, let's just do another one. So we get a 5. Saraphina. Sounds, I suppose, elfin enough. So she is Saraphina. And we could risk a human, a surname, and see whether that is. And what we'll do is we might change it to sound a bit more elven. So let's just give it a shot and see what we get. So it's column 1, and it's going to be that's 5. Shadowbrook, something brook, maybe glistening brook or golden brook, or well, we'll put something brook. Shadowbrook. It's definitely not. So it wouldn't be shadow. I don't think. That sounds a bit dark. She was a drow elf. I don't think you don't get drow elves in BX. Shadowbrook. Okay. Maybe Saraphina from Shadowbrook. Maybe that's the place that she's from. Let's go with Saraphina just now. Lady Saraphina. It's probably, yes, lady. That sounds good, doesn't it? Lady Saraphina, because she is an elfess, or an elf enchantress of status. So we've done that. We've done the name. The alignment, we're saying that she can't be chaotic. So it's going to be, I would say 1 to 3 lawful, 4 to 6 neutral. So we'll do a half and half. She is lawful. So her alignment is lawful. Lawful. Origins. Now remember, we had a little bit of a tweak to origin for non-humans. So she is, if non-human, it will be the elder regions bordering the barony 1 to 4 and further afield at 5 to 6. So is she from a distant elf kind, far away, or just one of them? So she is from the barony, the elder regions. The elder regions. near the barony, to the border of the barony. All these exotic places I was talking about when I was showing you my barony concept, the kind of the wilds, the forest that she must have come from. So what else have we got? We've got the archetype that she's going to be. So let's find out what her archetype is. And we'll roll a d10 first, and then we'll consult our table. So we've got a 5 for her archetype. So in our table of archetypes, we have got the origin archetype, and 5 is mystic. Now mystic is only allowable for the cleric, so what we have to do is we have to work out all the ones that an elf would get and shortlist them. So we can have we can't have rogue, we can have sage, we can have outcast, we can have innovator, we can have survivor, and we can have charmer. So there's quite a list. So let's do we'll do a d10 and we'll do an equal weighting on each one. That'll probably be the fairest thing to do. Let's find where my d10 has gone. It's in here. So 9. So that's going to be the last one. So that is, oh, she's a charmer too. Same as, so probably this explains her amazing charisma just now. So just to recap what charmer is. Possesses exceptional social grace, wit and charisma. They can influence others, gather information and navigate complex social situations with ease, often preferring words to weapons. So maybe she's just going to be a bit too charming and intimidating, but she's got a charmer, so we'll put that down. Just, my pencil's not very good, that one. So we have got those items worked out. We have to also determine a situational modifier and see what her situation is and whether she is feeling as though she is in any need to find a place. Let me see my sheets, where it is. I've got my bit, here we go. Each has one of these 3 reasons for their current situation. So let's find out what her situation is. Saraphina. She's currently between adventures, resting. So we're going to have a negative modifier. So she's resting. So maybe she's not in any rush. So that's a -1. So we've got a +3 for this. We also have to have our famous impact of we're being slightly hampered by not having a definitive objective. Let's roll a d6 and see how she feels about having an objective, whether she's too bothered about that. And we have a 3, so no modifier, she's no objective, I don't care. So objective is +0. Okay, so I think we're ready to rock and roll on the actual calculation. Let's see what else we've got. We've got should we put in our Tamsin? We'll get her to do the negotiation. We'll have I think we'll have this green for this elf lady Saraphina. So Saraphina and Tamsin, they're doing a bit of a Saraphina says, yes, my name is Lady Saraphina. I am from the Elder regions. I am looking for a party of adventurers to join. And we noticed that her voice is very, very lyrical, and she has this quite charisma about her. We feel quite comfortable in her presence with the lute playing in the background and all this lovely ambience. We're almost like falling under her spell. We're thinking we are feeling a bit like that poor love-struck individual, that artisan before. However, we are adventurers, and we must maintain our cool, so we do hold back. This is a negotiation after all. And Tamsin is a wily operator. She knows how to negotiate with a fellow charmer. She feels, I am pitted against my equal here. How will this go? So we have a charisma of +1 for Tamsin. We have an alignment, so we're both, no, she's lawful, so we don't have anything on alignment. That's +0. The origin, we are different, so that's going to be +0. There's no cut over there. And archetype, I'm going to say that Tamsin can still use her. Maybe they are really absolutely on the same page, two charmers. You imagine two charmers chatting away to each other. It's probably to the audience roundabout, Little Hob and no, that's the wrong one. Little Hob and Yorick, they've probably got their mouths open, their jaws on the floor, just being quite entranced by the whole thing. Quinn's probably a bit more cynical about it. Yeah, I've seen all this before. I'm not really that keen on charmers. They're just all words, no action. But there is a very almost like a dance of words going on between Tamsin and Saraphina. It's almost a joy to listen to. And it's almost ramping up the ambience of the environment. So we're at +1. The attitude was a +0. So I think we're in a position to calculate everything. So let's go with a +3 for environment, a -1 for situation. So that's +2, +3, +4, +5. Yeah, +5 without even any terms. Okay, so what are our usual standard terms? I think we'll just offer the standard terms. We'll say we don't require a trial period, that's +1, and equal shares in fair terms +2. So terms +2, a whopping +7. So what is, surely we can get a decent roll here. Let's find it. Yes, we are off the chart. She says, "Oh, I'd be delighted to join your party. I think this could be a very mutually beneficial thing. I'm an elf, as you can see. I can offer a variety of different skills. I'm good with my spell book, and I have spells. I have this arcane knowledge that I can tap into, and also I am quite useful with a sword." I have my armor is upstairs. I'm not currently wearing it, but I have been known to be quite a warrior in fighting. I prefer to negotiate, and that is probably my strength. But if things go south, I am a reliable individual to have in your party. And she's almost doing a bit of a hard sell herself. She is a sterling effort to almost put herself into our party and place herself. So we're left with a situation now where we have got 4 candidates. So we'll put success down for this. And what we say to Saraphina is, well, it's been absolutely fantastic talking to you, Saraphina. We have enjoyed every minute of this, and we almost feel like we have been friends for life. However, you know the terms of negotiation. We need just a little bit of time just to consider our thoughts. And she says, that's fine. I can give you 1d4 -1 days. I can give you as long as you like. As I said, I'm resting. I am going to be in the Golden Griffin for some time. I can give you up to 3 days. So yes, it probably won't even take that. What we would like to do is maybe try to ascertain a place for us to adventure in. That would be a good start. She says, well, that's always a good strategy for an adventurer, is to find out exactly where you're going. I didn't really want to say that in an interview, but I think I can be a bit more candid about it now. Maybe we just noticed a hint of sarcasm. She is an elf after all. She has got. They like to be a bit more playful with humans. Sometimes you feel like they're toying with them a wee bit, and she's got that kind of glint in her eye. So we can get back to the adventure. Following on from this series of interviews, the characters are weary. And gratefully accept a fine meal from Boren and his serving staff. They wink and exchange pleasantries with a few of the previous night's residents, so that's some of the other people that we'd met the other night, but are captured, oh no, it's him again, by Old Hemlock, who stumbles over to their table and plonks himself down. So it's him, and I have to get my brown Old Hemlock. One out. There we go. Get it from Brian's mug. Get the Old Hemlock character out. And maybe he's going to spruce up into a different colour when we see his true colours. So Old Hemlock, he plonks himself down at our table. Get this wee bit set up so that we can get our characters in. We're not with Saraphina just now. He comes, he plonks himself down. Oh, what are you on about? He says, fetch me a beer and I will impart great knowledge. Ha ha ha. And it's all that kind of jovial stuff. The characters laugh, but the statement and the way it is delivered contains a subtle undercurrent of seriousness. What does this mean? Let us find out. Old Hemlock, town elder and storyteller, talks a great deal about places of mystery, but he actually knows far more about the local ruins and haunted places than he lets on. Quinn, our cleric, had understood this the previous night, and the characters will now attempt to befriend him. So they say, yes, why don't you come sit with us, Old Hemlock. We've been missing you. We've been waiting to get back, having a talk with you. I'm sure you have plenty of things to talk to us about. Quickly, they all see that this is an act, and he explains that he is in the information brokering game and will supply the details of a place of mystery in return for a share in the loot. So he says, you might have seen through my cunning plan. I like to basically suss out adventurers before I open my negotiation up and ask them whether they want to jump on board this great opportunity. I know about these ruins. I know how to get there. This is valuable information, and all I ask in return is a meager share in what you bring back. Is that too much to ask? So I'm saying in a future episode, we will generate the details of this place of mystery, and Hemlock will deliver the story behind our first dungeon. But for now, we can choose from one of 4 options. We can either have, and we get these exciting options, one of 4. And the good thing about this is these all exist in my game world. So even though we don't get, something we think, oh, that sounds fantastic, I'd love to go there, this will exist and we will get a chance to go there. So don't feel too disappointed if the one that you think, oh, I really fancy that one, doesn't come up. It does exist somewhere and we will be there. The dungeon to explore will be 20 miles away and a 1d8 compass direction. So let's find out what does Old Hemlock regale as the place that we're going to go. Bit of a drum roll for this. This is our first place of mystery, handed to us on a plate. It's going to be the haunted keep of Blackthorn Marsh. Oh no, that sounds exciting. Blackthorn Marsh. And what compass direction is this on our D8? 20 miles away, he says. Yes, it's the haunted keep of Blackthorn Marsh. A mere 20 leagues away in the direction of, that's going to be, we've got 1, 2, so that's southeast, yeah. So let's have a look. That's we've got north, Oh no, it is east. To the east. It's mere 20 leagues to the east. So I'll put down east. In fact, I'll do it on my sheet. We've got option 1, the Haunted Keep. Blackthorn Marsh. Oh no, not a marsh with all the insects and midges and all sorts of horrible creatures crawling about. It is to the east, a mere 20 leagues. Okay, so that's our first place of mystery. Good. And armed with that information, we have a bit of leverage with some of the other people. And I think at this stage, the characters really, they say, Old Hemlock, that has been terrific. You should really fill us in on this. We've got some contemplation to do just now. We're currently in the recruitment process, and we're looking for some people to beef up our party, and we really want to take on this haunted keep. Sounds great. Fill us in on the details, but in the meantime, we really need to just talk to some of these people that we've been in consultation with. And we also have to try and work out what our shortlist is. So we've got 4. The ideal would be to have 5 or 6. We could potentially have 7. Are we going to go for 7? So let's do the pros and cons. Arisa Dragonheart, a fighter. So a fighter would be very useful because we've already got 1 fighter, but why not have 2? She's lawful. She is from the kingdom. She's a protector. So she's really plays a straight, plays with a straight bat. She's a known quantity. She could be very, very useful as providing some more muscle for our party. So I would say that she is a strong candidate. So let's maybe give them a mark out of 5, and I would say that she's probably a 4. 4 out of 5. Okay. Riash Braveheart is way down the scale. He's a fail, so I don't think he even rates, so we don't have to consider him in the equation. Our thief. Now, we did want a thief, and he does seem to be quite a good candidate. He's lawful, so he's not going to maybe stab us in the back. He is from the kingdom, so we don't have any language issues or cultural problems for half of the party. And we were after a rogue, so again, I would say that he's pretty high. I think we'd have to have him as a 5, the top, because we were specifically after a thief, and we should maintain on that. The only thing is we need to get back into the Drunken Dragon, but we will send a note and see if he wants to pop over to the Golden Griffin for a pint. And then this new elf that we seem to be quite, she's got the advantage that she has not only magic powers, but she is a fighter too. So she combines this skill of Arisa, and at the same time has, her advance might be a bit slower because she's got to divide her experience between the 2. But is that an issue? I think in the short term. Do we need another magic user? It's a combination character. What's it going to be? Or do we just do the full hog and just try to go for all of them? This one's still variable. So, maybe we should send a note right now and see whether we can get Alden to come across. We'll do the interview with all these things. We haven't done the role yet. And do a situational thing. Yeah, we might get the ambience, the ambience of the place. That is a positive. Well, maybe we won't have that because it seems a bit contrived then. Yeah, let's we'll say to Boren, is there any chance that we could get maybe a note sent to the Drunken Dragon? And he could, my staff don't really like popping over there, but yeah, I suppose it give me a few coin and I will be quite happy. Who's it for? And we say, well, we know of a chap called Alden Trueblade. He is an adventurer that's in residence over there. And he said, right, as long as I can get it past the bouncer on the door and get it to that awful landlady, Griselda, she's a bit of a horror, and you might have met her. I'm sure we can get information back. So, I think we can wait. So we'll just sit in the Golden Griffin and wait and see whether Alden turns up. So maybe after about an hour or two, Alden pops through the door and he says, "Oh right, so you've got a meeting with me. I assume that you know where you're going." and we say, "Yes, Alden, we've actually ascertained the place that we're going to be going to. It is this haunted keep of Blackthorn Marsh." And he said, "Wow, that sounds terrific. Let's talk business. So let's revisit everything we have on Alden. We're not going to have a 0 for. We're going to have a situation. Now he was keen to join, so that's a situation that will stay +1. The charisma +1 will stay. The archetype of +1 will stay. We've got no modifier for the not knowing the objective, so that's a +3 just now. And shall we give ourselves something about the ambience of the place? You know, it seems to be really amping out some really good vibes in this the lute player is doing his job. Maybe we could just roll again and just say, well, has it changed? It's still going to be a positive, so let's see if it changes a bit. So no, it's still ramped up, so it's going to be +6. That is a +6. So this is going to be a bit of a slam dunk, I think, unless we get something awful. Yeah, 6 + 6 is a 12. So he says, "Yeah, I'm very interested now that you do have a place." I did say that that was one of my necessary requirements, is that I need to know where I'm going. And now it seems that you have quickly ascertained this information. I don't know how you did it, but you obviously seem to be quite a capable bunch of individuals. Can I inquire who you talked to? And we say, well, this chap, Old Hemlock, he's going to fill us in on the details, probably later on this evening or tomorrow. He seems to be a perennial resident in this place. He has a secret which we can impart to you now that you are part of our party. And he says, yes, I am part of the party. In fact, we didn't even do the terms. I'm going to say it was just standard terms that we give him. It doesn't have a probationary period, and we give him an equal share. So that would have even made it sweeter. So he is really on the team, Alden Trueblade. So that's one recruit we've got. I think we go over to Saraphina and we say, "Saraphina, we now know where we're going. Would you like to join us, our party?" And she says, "Yes, I've already said that." So there's no need to ask again, but it's now nice that you have confirmed. I would be glad to join. So Saraphina, are we going to go and ask Arisa Dragonheart and have 7 in our party? Shall we have a little vote? Who would probably, in our party, in our originals, how would they perceive it? Now, Yorick, another fighter, I don't think he would feel any. She's another protector. Maybe you just feel that there's a duplication of effort. So if anybody was maybe going to object, it might be him. However, he probably realizes that fighters are good candidates to have as a multiple class in a party. So he might be positive. I would say that Hob is neutral. He does not really too bothered either way. Quinn, she'd probably be in favor of having another fighter and another lady in the party. Yeah, for that. And Tamsin, I think she likes the idea of having a female equivalent of Yorick in the party, another protector, and she is a magic user. She needs protection. So I would say in general, I think they're going to be positive. So what they do is they decide to. They say, right, quickly finish your drinks. We have to get back to Arisa quickly. She had a bit of a time thing on. We've already spent a few hours. There is a chance that maybe she's already been snapped up. So maybe that's what happens is that when we get back over to the Shadowed Helm, Arisa is having a drink. We go up to her and we say, Arisa, we spoke to you earlier today about joining our party. We now have a place to go to, and also we are in a position to offer you a place in our party. Are you still available? Is she still available? So I will say that on a one on a d6, she has been, in that time, she has been snapped up. So no, she says, yes, this sounds great. I am available. Sign me up. Where are you staying? And we're saying we're in the Golden Griffin. And she says, well, I'm quite enjoying being in the Shadowed Helm. I might just stay here for tonight, but I will meet up with you tomorrow, and then we can arrange plans for where was this you said you were going. And she doesn't really seem to be too bothered about it. She just basically point me in a direction and charge. And she maybe got that kind of attitude. And we're all thinking, wow, this sounds quite entertaining. It's the Haunted Keep of Blackthorn Marsh. And she says, that sounds terrific, can't wait. So we've got 3 on the team after all that. So we're up to a party of 7. Can I handle it, Brian? Brian, yes. Well, I'm going to, so there you go. Right, so we get back to the, we go back to the Golden Griffin. So that's really the end of the adventure today. What I wanted to do was basically draw a line in the recruitment, and what I can go away is I can draw up these characters. I don't know whether you would really want to sit and watch me roll up all their stats, or I should just do that offline. It's 6 or half a dozen. It does take a bit of time doing these sheets. Maybe I could roll some of their motivations and the other things in front of you. I'll have a think about it. Yeah. Do we want to spend maybe another half a session doing three more characters? You know, we've got an elf which is slightly different. We haven't had an elf before. Another fighter, a female fighter. Might be just like watching Yorick again. And a thief's a bit different. So maybe it might be worthwhile doing the elf and the thief, and then the fighter I can maybe just generate on myself. But I'll do the motivations and their other personality types. Now that they are part of the team, it's definitely ramped up the team now. We've got a really good representation. I'm going to have to using all my pawns in this. I'm going to have I've got the azure, the teal one, the green one, and who else have I got? I've got yeah, I'm probably going to have to use white for the thief, which is a bit strange, but you know, just to keep the continuity of these types of pawns. So we're up to pawn max. We're maxed out on pawns. So yeah, I'll have a think about that. The other thing I wanted to do was just talk about I'm saying the adventure points and NPC summaries. So the final step in this episode is to summarize the information gathered to date about the adventure threads and the NPCs encountered so far. We will employ a mechanic to develop and progress each of these as we move forward in our timeline. And this comes under our overall control framework, which we establish now to provide a light touch administrative mechanism to track time and monitor campaign developments. So basically what I've done is I've captured all the threads, all the NPCs and all the little stories that they had, and I've put them into this matrix I've got here of adventure points and type and status. And I can monitor these going forward and say, right, okay, what do we want to progress? Well, what are going to be of interest? So I've got Cassandra, for example, and she's an NPC and all the different things about the Shadow Society that are pursuing her and the artifact that she's got. So that's all interesting stuff. I've got Lyra Swiftfoot, our favorite, you know, almost like an analogue of a ranger, and the fact that she's an NPC and she's interested in Cassandra. And whether our characters do anything to facilitate her finding out about that. We've got this whispers rumor, the strange unsettling whispers and fleeting shadows are reported at night. That this, the rumor source town square notice board. We've got this noble's illness, a key figure within the keep. Perhaps the sheriff is rumored to be gravely ill, and Rasimus the soothsayer, bound to have him popping up again. The unusual supplies are being brought out of the keep. That was an observation that the characters made. So I've got a note of all that so that we can track. We've got good old Grungir Stonebeard and his band of 3 dwarves still drinking away in the corner, and dreaming of the caverns that they're going to be going down and finding this rich seam of whatever it is, this rare ore or mineral. And Hob and Yorick basically said, yeah, we can help anytime. Maybe that was a bit of over delivering. And then Old Hemlock, we have got him, so we can update this. Quinn saw that there was more to him than meets the eye, and he was actually talking some sense. So scoped to approach him as a party and cut through his deliberate facade. Well, we've done that, so that's a tick in the box there. And then the authority figures, just in general, these are showing a lack of discipline, laziness and protectiveness. An observation, there appears to be some subtle malaise affecting the town. Is this a bit more significant? So we did notice that with all our lazy guards and people that were a bit apathetic, that type of stuff. And the final thing in this episode is talk about the next episode. So what I'm saying for the next episode is that we're not going to just in a linear way progress to onto the adventure. I am just going to for one episode, I'm going to zoom out from Freehold and look at the barony of the Westmark setting. Now, I said that in our original timeline that I would have this as a process step, and I think to give us an overall context of where we are, and when we go to this marsh, this Blackthorn Marsh, we kind of know where it is. Where it is east is what is the surrounding area? What does this barony in total look like? I am going to do a bit of world creation through a mechanism. So we will deploy the interactive barony design mechanic, which is primed and ready to create our high fantasy frontier location bordering a mysterious wilderness. So what I'm saying this will cover, it'll be a random placement on the map of our core concepts and features with a definition of the detail of population and size of subregions. So when I was talking about our core concepts and features, that was things like the jagged mountains, the mysterious forest, the elves, the dwarves, all the different things that I alluded to. The strange marsh. Maybe that is Blackthorn Marsh. Who knows? There will be a limited attempt to simulate local events and define some of the region's power blocks and personalities. So once I've got them all spread over a little map, I will start pulling them together into potential power blocks, and also just maybe draw out some of the personalities, like what is the leader of the elves like, that type of thing. And then I'll work out the aggressiveness of the region's societies will be determined. And a mini game, we might even have a mini game of a war simulated with the results built into the game. So for example, maybe the dwarves and the orcs have a bit of a square off, and we can just quickly just a couple of die rolls and see what the results of that is and see who came out the victor. And that might, on a geopolitical level, might give a bit of flavor, recent flavor to the barony. And then initial placement of artifacts, ruins, and places of mystery. So we can maybe start plonking down some of those, these individual items that we've already, the Haunted Keep, the Cursed Tomb, the Forgotten Shrine, the Ancient Barrow. So these are quite tantalizing. We've got the Haunted Keep of Blackthorn Marsh that we've already decided is the place to go, but we've got the idea of this Cursed Tomb of the Fell Wood. And the shadowy figure called the Shadow Master. What's that all about? The Forgotten Shrine of the Blasted Waste. My goodness, what could that be? The Ancient Barrow of the Withered Heath. Thane Asdrul, is that his barrow? These are just names just now, just terms, but I'm going to weave them into a bit of life. And then some random regional events will be applied. So, as I say, next episode we're going to do a bit of a zoom out, a bit of kind of interruption in the linear progression of the timeline, but it's to really give us an overall view of what this barony is, so that we can basically understand where our characters are going and where they are in relation to everything else. And I think that'll be quite useful. And I want to do it in an interactive way too, which is a bit of fun, and not really take itself too seriously. And then thereafter, the following episode, we'll get Old Hemlock to explain, right, this is everything you need to know. We're scared to ask about the Haunted Keep of Blackthorn Marsh, and give us that nice initial dialogue that all your good old DMs do when they say, this is the adventure for today, and this is a bit of background about it, just to get you in the mood. Okay, well, I think that's me done for today. I thank you very much for watching, and I look forward to you joining me next time.